Alright, so this video is recording in 1080p 60 frames per second instead of 4K, so let me know what you guys think compared to the Bissell video. So this is my second vacuum video. I might re-upload the Bissell one, I'm not sure, but either way. This is my Dyson DC14 Animal, and you might be thinking again, why are you making a video on a vacuum cleaner? Well, the story behind this one's pretty interesting. I actually wanted to make a video on this quite a while ago whenever I picked it up, but now that I finally got it complete, and now that it's finally been refurbished by me, I say that term very loosely because it's covered in scratches, and it's clearly been well used and well abused over the past well over a decade, going on some, not 15 years, because this model's, I can tell that this specific version of the DC14 is circa 2004, 2005, and considering this is an Animal and this is like the first version of the DC14 that came out, I'm going to assume that this is probably late 2004. That's my guess. This is late 2004, early 2005. At the latest, it's early 2006. So it's still at least 12 something years old, going on like 14 years old, something like that, depending. So it's pretty well loved. But the story behind how I got this is a yard sale. I was basically browsing through a yard sale because anytime I see yard sales here by my hometown, not hometown, but where I live, I will often stop at them because sometimes, I'll see Xboxes for cheap or old game systems or something, and sometimes I'll see a good vacuum cleaner, because that's what I used to do. I used to collect vacuum cleaners. I used to fix them and repair them. It's the first thing, vacuums are the first thing I ever learned how to fix, and the first thing I kind of had a knack for doing. A lot of my close friends and family members are well aware of this. And, I've gotten some Dyson machines in the past. This is actually my third Dyson and also my third DC14, because every Dyson I've ever personally owned was a DC14. And in fact, two of them were an Animal. This is my second Animal. The first Dyson I owned, I got summer of 2011, and that was a DC14 full kit. I still own it. It's just not in my possession at the moment because it's with my mother. And this is my second DC14. The first DC14 I got, I missed the handle. The first DC14 I got was actually from my aunt because she had a DC14, but she had a little bit of a later version because her version had the handle that extended outwards the back, like the DC17 and DC18, whereas this one's obviously an earlier version that has the handle up front. And her version also was the version where this is not removable, and so is my other DC14. So I've technically owned every variation of the DC14, every revision, because this is the first revision that has this style handle, and then this part that's removable, and then the DC14 full kit is the one where it has the old style handle, or I guess this style handle, but this isn't removable. And then my aunt's DC14 had the handle in the back, which again had this part that's not removable. This is the only version where this part is removable, which is kind of a pain to remove. And I might actually put a DC07 filter just for kicks and giggles, just to kind of, just in case. So while this one's washing, I still have a filter in the system. So, and you can tell that they didn't emphasize it because they grayed it out to neutral instead of it being the primary machine color. And this one is probably one of my... I do like this better than the all floors model because the all floors model is honestly the most ugly. I don't like the bright yellow, but the purple doesn't look too bad, honestly. Although my preferred version is the full access version where it was dark blue and then had the orange accents because those are my two favorite colors. But my second favorite would be the full kit, which is the one that I owned at one point, or also something like the complete where it was mostly grayed out, but then it had, I believe, just the height adjust and the power button were these purple colors, and everything else was grayed out because it looks more professional. But this one is still pretty nice. And basically the work that I had to do on it is I had to obviously clean up the brush roll, and I still need to, this base plate still has a lot of stuff that's like caked underneath it, so I really need to clean that out at some point, but it doesn't hurt the function of the machine. So I cleaned all the hair off the brush roll. I completely cleaned out the bin. I washed the bin. I used the shop vac to suck out all the dust from inside the cyclone pack. I also washed the filter because the filter wasn't in the best shape. Now I've used it a couple times since then. The HEPA filter is brand new. I literally just put that in earlier today. And unfortunately, because these stupid, lifetime HEPA filters, are so hard to remove, I broke one of the clips on the side. But, that's not the biggest deal in the world, because it's still, even without, it still clamps on. It just cosmetically, it looks terrible. But I put a brand new HEPA filter in there. It didn't have the seal, but I don't really care about that because, I don't have allergies or anything, so I'm not worried about that. But the old one was caked with sawdust and all kinds of stuff, so I had to vacuum out the internal parts of it with my Bissell. And it also didn't have attachments, so I just ordered some attachments. The crevice tool and the dusting brush are genuine, and the stair tool is some knockoff, but it works just fine, it seems. And I cleaned out everything. The only other thing that I might actually replace is this hose. It doesn't have any holes in it, but it just looks disgusting. No offense to the previous owners, but this hose is nasty. It's clearly been well loved. And of course there's a little section in the cord where it got nicked. I'm assuming they were probably just running over the vacuum or something, or I'm guessing since this is the Animal, I'm assuming they had pets and a pet chewed up the cord or something. There's another spot like that too as well. But for the most part, it's still functional now, and it sounds just fine, and it cleans very well. It actually lifts up this carpet more than the Bissell does, which surprises me because the Bissell has much better agitation. Because these brush roll, the reason Dysons don't clean as well, and people give them crap for the brush rolls not cleaning as well, it's because they're designed for British carpet, which I believe are generally much thinner, or at least designed a little bit differently. At least that's my impression, because the models without the clutch don't have problems with agitation. So, and speaking of which, of course, it does have the clutch, bare floors, carpets. Works pretty well on bare floors, although I choose not to use it on bare floors as much because these wheels are, they can scratch the floors. And our hardwood floors have a lot of scratches in them, so we choose not to. Even though that's part of the reason why we got it is because of the fact that it can do floors pretty well. Also, one thing I don't like about this is there's no cord clip, but I can just do that, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. And by the way, of course, this is the telescope reach, so it has the wand that does that, so you can get up in different sections, and like I said, that hose is nasty, but it still works, and it's not... Basically, I spent $20 on the machine, and I spent a couple bucks on parts, but all in all, I spent a total of $60 in total. So for a total of $60, I got a 100% perfectly working DC14, and I'm happy about that. I don't have any of the extra attachments that the Animal comes with, but I have all the onboard ones, which is all I really care about right now. I had a floor tool at some point that even matched, but I don't know where it went. And I don't think I ever got a hold of the turbo brush or the Zorb tool, so we'll see. But anyways, that's really all there is to say about it. I fixed it up and it works pretty well, so why don't we take it for a bit of a test run and we'll see how it runs. This is the first time I've ran it since I put in the HEPA filter, so let's see how it goes. So yeah, it works well. It's the first time I use the crevice tool on it. So one thing I will say is that I did vacuum this yesterday with the Bissell from that video, and then I vacuumed it the previous day with this Dyson. So obviously it's not going to get up too much, but it's more for demo purposes. This is probably like the cleanest this little section of carpet has ever been since I vacuumed it for so many videos. So yeah, that's the DC14. The bearings do sound a little bit funky. A little bit of a whine to them whenever I, you know, just after a while. But it still sounds like it's in a little bit better shape than my aunt's before hers. Actually, because hers never went out. I got rid of it before because I was kind of paranoid about it. But even if it does go out, I do kind of regret getting rid of that one. But since I have it back now, I'm not really, you know, not the biggest deal in the world. Especially because this one has that removable section and this handle that I prefer. So considering $60, you know, it's pretty good. And I do greatly prefer this handle design than not even the later, but the 2007, 2008, 2009 DC14s, because they sold the DC14 till around what, 2012, I think, somewhere around there. So then for a few more years they went back to this handles design until they faded out, and I believe they phased it out after they released the DC33, which was, that's like what, 2012, I think, when the 33 came out, something like that. So yeah, so if you want a newer version of this, you can still find the DC33. I see it at Walmart and stuff, but you know, it's like $200 at Walmart, which is a really good deal for a brand new Dyson. But you know, $200 and you know, for a new one. But I got this one, fixed it all up, and it was $60. So that's a pretty good deal. And honestly, I prefer this to the DC33 because I like it because the attachments work a little bit more similar to the way Phantoms work, and I don't like the newer Dysons where it has the clip for the attachments, because you know that's just going to break and then you can't use your attachments anymore. So it just seems like a stupid idea. But obviously this cheapy little upholstery tool is my only concern, but it fits. So these Velcro strips will probably wear out after a little bit, but you know, considering I got it for a couple bucks, I'm not going to cry over it. I think I got this for like $4. So once it dies, I'll find a genuine one. And yeah, so that's my Dyson DC14 Animal. If you guys have any questions, if you care, or you know, whatever, drop a comment below. I'm sure not many people are watching these vacuum videos, but I'm just kind of posting them more up for kind of archival and for like family members to see it and stuff, because it is pretty interesting, to me at least. So, but yeah, I got it all fixed up, $60, great deal on a Dyson. Considering that's close to what my Bissell cost when it was new. When it was new, it was like $50, so this was like a steal. But yeah, so anyways, this is Intelitech Studios signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.